Whoa there, Alden. Right then, you wanted to get down some of your comedy. Oh, actually, do you? I got a few notes we can go through, but you wanted to get down some of your comedy ideas, didn't you? Just so you could timestamp them. You paranoid little bastard. I'm not sure if I actually want to do that or not. Yeah, I guess I'll do it. Actually, no, because then it'll make it. Yeah, well, I'll just give the basic. I basically write down basic premises, don't you, Ollie? See, it's weird when I'm kind of trying to talk in the usual way that people would talk in such a scenario, but then also acknowledging the fact that this is only going to be listened to by me ever, apart from when I'm dead. So hello from the other world, guys. There is an afterlife. Oh, it's so great. I'm going to come and tell everyone about it soon, or actually I'll just tell one person, and then everyone will think they're crazy. See, why doesn't that ever happen? Why isn't there just a big message from the afterlife? Because there's some kind of thing stopping, but they can get little messages through, and you have to interpret them. That's the thing. So this is all part of. This is the best. This is the first comedy thing. And it's the only one. Actually, that's the end of it. That's my comedy routine. Right. I consider myself a scientist. I've been living with a woman for over a year now, and all I can say is that synchronized period theory is bullshit. Slash menstrual cycle theory. Yeah, it's not funny joke there. Right. My most famous joke. Women, can't live with them because they won't let me. That's got its fair use from Robs. He loves that one. I can't sneeze. Okay. I had a friend, blah blah blah. He was kind of stupid. The kind of guy you could ask to. The kind of guy you could ask to, and then open brackets, menial task, close brackets, and 9 out of 9 times he'd fuck it up. If there's grass on the pitch, play ball. If there isn't any grass, play in the mud. Can anyone help me? I appear to have misplaced my wheelchair and telepathic abilities. Ball joke. There's Baldo costume, baldy but a goodie, golden arches. I'll be the bald guy without any hair. Who needs friends with enemies like these when you have such good enemies? Oh yeah, sorry. Who needs friends with enemies like these? Or who needs friends when you have such good enemies? It's apparently a slogan idea. I struggle waking up early. I guess I'm just not that big a fan of worms. Would you mind not being so aggressively attractive? It's very intimidating. On the subject of dating, intimate dating, I hate pandas. They can go fuck themselves. Know the Quran back to front. His ignorance knows no bounds. Miniature golf where the clubs and balls shrink, but the course is the same size. Extreme miniature golf. I've never been bullied except by shampoo bottles, and it's clever bullying too. They make you tell yourself what's wrong with you. For dull, lifeless hair. Yeah, that's me. Maximum volume. Total repair. I'm Ollie. Well, I'm Ollie. I feel obliged to point out that there are other Ollies out there for you to pick and choose from. People don't get probability. Well, the Big Bang may have happened. It may not. It's 50-50, you know. So survival of the fittest. I guess it just wasn't for us. I've ended up back at square one so many times that I decided just to spruce up that square. Sexual masochist. I prefer the term sex emo. It makes me sound like a kinky Inuit. Sex emo. Oh, very good. Online shopping. A marvellous way of getting what you don't want. Like ridiculously expensive Lucky Dip. Oh, it's not when when you do an online shop at Tesco and they bring you back a list of all the things that they couldn't stock and decided to give you other things instead. Gogglebox isn't quite mundane enough for me. There simply aren't enough layers of tedium. I think degrees of tedium is what I prefer. I need to see Gogglebox watches Gogglebox. Anyone tried K-cider? The rest are probably busy getting their stomachs pumped. I'm not sure if they have a slogan or not, but if they don't, it should be something simple like, they'll fuck you up. Better yet, something's gonna get fucked up. Yeah, it's just not funny, really. I can't believe it's not Buddha. Saw a guy trying on a watch in a shop window by holding his arm up to the window. It doesn't work like that, pal. All you're finding out there is what your wrist looks like. Unfortunately, it would seem my target audience doesn't attend many comedy shows. To a heckler, look, dude/lady, try not to be too much of a dickhead. That's my thing. Talking about blowjobs, all I'm saying is don't knock it till you've sucked my dick. I watch porn depending on the thumbnail, not some weird subcategory. Oh yeah, play with that cuticle, you filthy slut. But I often forget to read the title as a result, which can mean I sometimes stumble into a video with incestuous undertones. Luckily, the acting is so bad it's an incredible fourth wall breaker. Those who've heard vaginas referred to as pink walls can fill that gap yourselves. But it does mean you end up with a somewhat questionable history. Now there's a hot topic to discuss with your German friends. Also, what's up with all the incest-themed porn? Who would have thought incest would make such a prolific comeback? That's an incestuendo. That's something I've noticed about life. Everything is relative. E-life, reading an e-book while smoking an e-cigarette, taking an e-shit. I refer to my first 2 years of uni as the Dark Ages, not because I joined the Minstrel Society, or that I was clinically depressed. Switch the order of those two. But because I have little to no memory of anything from that time period. Have you ever been so tired that you're too tired to sleep? It's all you've thought about all day, whilst you're completely dead to the world. Hey Jeff, that project needs to be done today or you're going to lose your job. Huh? Oh sure, whatever. Hey Jeff, your head's on fire. Huh? Okay, cool. Just leave on my disc. Then you finally get to bed, lay there for... No, I don't like that joke. Then you finally get to bed, lay there for 10 seconds, and that one arsehole part of your brain says, I cannot believe how tired I am. I mean, wow. And you just try to ignore and hope no one else in your brain notices, right? I don't think we've ever been this tired. Do you remember that one time I was so tired? I don't appreciate that joke at all. Upon being heckled, I'm sorry, so madam, have I offended you in a past or present life? Hamster ball for kangaroos, self-lighting fireworks, collapsible buildings, skyscrapers, teeny tiny cutlery on ends of chopsticks, eating soup with tiny spoons on chopsticks. Oh, I think that was just some self-lighting fireworks. I quite like it. For shampoo joke, some shampoos are for an entirely different sector of society, for bald, luscious, full hair. Oh, sorry, for bold, luscious, full hair. God forbid should someone from the Lost Causes try to cheat the system and use such a shampoo. I'm a living example. The shampoo binds to the shampoo receptors in the head and gets rejected, causing mass follicle jettison. Ollie hates it when people talk about themselves in the first person. Therapist asks how to spell clinically or Oedipus. Oh, right. So I quite like the idea of someone go to a therapist and then, you know, when they're always writing down just to themselves. And they say, do you know how you spell them clinically? Or Oedipus. I've pretty much decided not to kill myself. Oh, well, that's not very funny. Is that it? Yeah, no, that's it. Thank God pregnancy lasts so long. In fact, 9 months isn't long enough to prepare you for what happens. Can you imagine if it only took a few minutes? You inject this relatively tiny amount of white goo into a lady with your U-stick, and this little thing pops out like a mini-me vending machine. Commitment issues, suicide. What the fuck is this? Yeah, I think I saw the ones in this stupid book there. So I'm just going to read some of my recent notes. I also have... There's loads of things on here, but I can't bother to look through them all. And one of them I was hoping to make into a little comedy show, maybe. But I probably won't ever do that, because I'm so fucking lazy. And I quite like the idea of doing an animated kind of Sherlock Holmes thing. I've written it down, so if I die, then you can read through my notes. Yeah, I couldn't come up with a really good name for it. I was thinking basically something like The Amazingly Stupendous Sherlock Holmes, but I don't like Amazingly Stupendous. I think that's a dickhead thing to say. So maybe Sherlock Holmes and his band of merry men. Or Shalom Hoax, because it's like Shalom Hoax. I don't know, that doesn't actually mean anything. It's pretty shit. Right, let's just go through the fucking thing, shall we? I I don't actually know where I got up to. I can work it out by the dates. Wow. I never knew I was so fucking smart. If I was this smart, and I am. Wow, really sniffing up a storm over here, Aldi. Really sniffing up a storm, aren't you, Wally? Okay, I think we're up to here. Have yourself a happy little birthday. Okay. This idea that the universe is trying to understand itself seems wrong to me. The belief that the universe itself is somehow conscious sounds misleading. I think what is truly happening is the only thing that could happen, given the probabilistically... I think I've already done this one. Anyway, now I'll start here because I don't know where to start, actually. Probabilistically governed nature of the universe. Evolution is the process that applies to the entire universe, and that those things, whether it be an organism, an idea, a molecule, a system, a physical process, anything, will be maintained. Only something that can have a future will have a future. The reason information appears to be evolving isn't because some unimaginable God, I use that word so often and I don't even fucking know how to say it. Unimaginable conscious entity is willing it so. It's because the evolution of information is self-perpetuating whilst its alternatives aren't. The path that arises is the one that provides a future for itself, not by conscious decision, but because it happens by chance to yield more advantageous outcomes than its alternatives. Pardon me. And it's important to note that this choosing process occurs after the fact. There is nothing that assesses which path will yield the best outcome and picking that one. It simply happens that those paths which are better than others will always be better, provided all variables remain constant, and so will win out every time the variables are such that it is superior. Take, for example, the case of molecules forming towards the birth of the universe. Why did complex molecules form, and why didn't the atoms stay separate indefinitely? Well, they simply did, because that was what the physical laws of the universe made it most likely to happen. Again, laws is a misleading term, suggesting some kind of arbitrator, but the laws are just as random as the processes they govern. Had the molecules never formed, the further complexity of nature would never have occurred. Whilst there is nothing to say that kind of a universe shouldn't exist given different circumstances, there is reason to state that our kind of universe is just one of many alternatives. Alternatives probably not the right word there. One had to happen. Which one does is irrelevant. When providing evidence for something being wrong, that person is... I think I've definitely read these now. That person is not responsible for providing the correct alternative, and an example of which would be those opposing capitalism as it is. Their arguments are almost definitely correct, but they do not have to provide a solution for their statements to be true. If I ask you what is 259... Yeah, okay, you should have already heard this. Ollie, fuck. Now I'm talking to people again. If I'm dead, look, I just want to say, you're all great. You just keep doing you, and don't let anything I say make you want to kill yourself, because that is... boy. Oh, no, don't kill yourself. It's a bad idea. Why not? Oh, because you shouldn't do it. You just shouldn't. There you go. That's a reason not to kill yourself, because you shouldn't. You can't. That's a common one. You can't kill yourself. You fucking can. Then instantly followed it up with, is it 2? You'd be right in saying, no, it isn't 2. Similarly, if I hadn't, I didn't even say the whole squared thing, but really big number squared, and then they said, is it 2? And you'd be right in saying, no, it isn't 2. Anyway, if I hadn't asked you the second question and you had just answered of your own volition, not 2, you would also be correct. Your being correct in that statement is not reliant on you being able to give the actual answer. Another reason Jordan Peterson's definition of truth is so silly is, what are things which have no bearing on the future of humankind? The word true must still apply to whether or not it is true to say in 50 years a star 60 billion light years away will collapse in on itself and have no impact on the human race. People are too partial to partial logic. There is a that makes sense, therefore it has to be the only explanation mentality. People fail to realise that just because one theory makes logical sense, it is the only true explanation. This can be seen in religion, obviously, also in science, although its presence here is indicative of poor implementation of the scientific method. And just in everyday life, there needs to be an understanding that just because one thing might explain something doesn't mean it is true or the only explanation. I think the future and most popular pastime will be a VR competitive Overwatch-like tournament/league-based multiplayer. want to work out so that I have a body I'm proud of for myself. Therefore, I have to dress in a way that passively conceals it so as not to be outwardly proud, or so I want it to be for the benefit of my partner, but exclusive to them. Wow, that's what a deep thought. It sounds pretty kind of... what is that? Well, it's like a... there's a word for quite pompous almost, but in a different... Not really pompous isn't the word I'm looking for. Self-aggrandizing, I guess? No. I don't know if I can prepare for the future. Oh, no. Everyone has their own personal internal dictionary. Each individual's dictionary is shaped and influenced by the people and outlets they spend most time with. Therefore, within certain circles, you find more similar definitions between individuals within the same group. You are far more likely, then, to be drawn towards those who already have similar dictionaries who have similar dictionaries to you, as you are likely to converse with one another more successfully. The reason different groups often collide without avail is due to differences in definitions, and seeing as conversation is the only way they can try to convey their messages, they cannot come apparently to mutual conclusions because they are using different tools, and the true meanings are genuinely lost in translation. When I stutter and stumble, it's because I've written these in my fucking iPhone notes and the typos galore. The notion that you are only intelligent if you read a lot of books is false. There is actually far more accessible information available on the internet, and in far more accessible formats than text. YouTube can be the most informative resource if used a certain way, just as someone could read a vast amount to be an read a vast amount still be an idiot, I suppose. If all they read is children's books, someone can stay on more, and if all they watch on YouTube is cinema challenges, etc. However, especially for people who grow up watching TV, reading may not be the best way for them to ingest information. They are more likely to be able to gather knowledge from watching and hearing things than reading, probably faster as well. What matters is the content. I actually think that nowadays, if done correctly, which is to avoid all the nonsense and vacuous content, is a superior source to increase one's intellect. That's YouTube. The information is more likely to be up to date, it can be consumed at a greater rate, and there's simply more of it. And it's passive, so reading requires effort, whereas watching things basically requires no effort whatsoever. Doesn't even really require you to concentrate, to be honest, just kind of, and it goes in. But I think that's probably because of the amount of TV you watched during your childhood. Anyway, I think YouTube's probably been the source of most of my most of the things that are in my head probably come from YouTube, to be honest. Next one. All the different deities in one village, Buddha always meditating, Muhammad refuses to be on camera, etc. Village. In a future dominated by AGI that are yet to reach human behaviour/consciousness but completely occupy the traditional workplace, humans will begin to favour creative and artistic exploits. The number of content creators will only continue to increase, and the mentality that currently comes with this lifestyle is not sustainable in such an environment. There needs to be a deviation from the highly competitive route we find ourselves going at. As the variety of careers narrows and the subsequent increase in population within those that remain, any notion of success that relies on the inferiority of others and progress only at others' expense is insufficient. We will have to learn to value improvements within our own work and not rely on surpassing the work of our peers as the only way to measure our progress. Wow, Ollie, that's really fucking deep, isn't it? You're basically saying you need to stop caring about other people and just care about yourself. Suicide, so sewers as in waste, and then so like the seaside, that's suicide. Yep. I don't want to get into comedy because I'm afraid of becoming more like myself. What the fuck is that? Okay. Oh no, I accidentally touched the voice memos thing. Oh no. I feel about this a lot doing stand-up, and not once did it occur to me to think about it in first person, and that's probably because it's way easier just to imagine watching a version of myself that knows what they're doing, and I'm just there in this dream world going, I'm so great, because that isn't really me. Of course, now I'm here and I can't get out of this stupid first-person mode, and I'm the one who has to do all the things. I'm totally unprepared. I'm used to just watching it happen. I'd be great at your guys' job. I could watch the shit out of me right now. I don't like this. Is bad. This is just objectively bad. It's not uncommon for comedians to try and flirt with the audience after the show, especially if we do well. but I'm a busy man, so I've prepared some short questionnaires that would be grateful if you could fill out. Just to try and minimise my time spent not fucking to time fucking ratio. Just basic questions like, are you predominantly female? Your age, but I actually prefer slightly older women, MILFs if you will. Sexual promiscuity, etc. How can the nicest, most selfless statement be construed as mean? Can I help you? We've managed to make that sentence a potentially bad sentence. Every single part of it is good. Someone offers to help you without any knowledge of who you are. Why on earth would they do that? Thank you, you literal angel. And then they give you the option to turn them down. They understand that their selfless act of doing something for you may not fit into your busy schedule. And yet we've found a way. Can I help you? That is an insult to our very being. I don't need your help, bitch. How dare you? Do I look like I need help? Okay, that's... Yeah, I don't really like... I think it's because when I think of a joke, it has to be read in a certain way. It has to be read in the way that I read it in my head, and I'm not doing that now because I'm just reading verbatim. Shop window watch joke, pregnancy joke, open mic. I probably should have sorted this out before. Sorted this out. I don't like this one. Before I came on, but I actually signed up for the reggae medium by accident. So I don't know how this works. Do I just give it a shot anyway, or what am I doing here? It's because I was looking at open mic things, and one of the options was reggae. I can't actually remember if they had a comedy thing in the end, but I thought it would be funny if I just went and did comedy. No, I've never done comedy, so it probably won't be funny. It'll be pretty person. I wasn't able to be there for the first week of proceedings. Luckily, the group were extreme. Oh, for God's sake. It's me fucking doing uni shit. I really hate the university as it is. The Open University is a way fucking better thing, but you just don't get people don't respect it. It's a better system, I tell you. Oh, well, I assume it is. If they've done it right. Whenever someone asks me to be funny on the spot, I usually just whip my tiny, skinny, juicy dick out and let them do the rest. That's quite funny, because it's like a play on the big fat juicy dick. So you just you leave the juicy in there, but change the other two. That's fucking funny. I went to if you know when you say I went to a mental image of someone, and you're like, you're great by the way. That's real funny. That's real great. This is my idea for the Sherlock hoax. I'm going to animated stick figure bodies and environment with real life heads edited on with green screen. Only one character actually human, rest dolls or Lego heads or something. Easy for me to voice all and not have to dress up. Some character have random animated, non-animated individual limbs, just a hand that is non-animated and the rest of the body is. When you watch a TV show / film with a love story and you find yourself believing that if you only had what they had, you'd be happy. All you're actually feeling is a craving of the neurochemical spike associated with the circumstances. This is the same for all desires, really, so seemingly validates drug use and reduces the apparent necessity of actual success. I'm recording this performance to send to some agents while starting up with signs saying, please laugh and clap hysterically. That's just alright. When asked to describe something, it's unbelievable, indescribable, followed by silence. If life was worth living, you should be able to give an endless list of things to do. Unfortunately, the and then what game, rather unspectacularly, proves this not to be the case. If life was all it's cracked up to be, you'd be struggling to only say one thing at a time, whilst pulling from an endless supply of increasingly worthwhile exploits. I go shopping all the time. I just don't buy anything. Being poor is easy. It's strange how Britain's greatest invention is yet to be taken up by the rest of the world. The tut has the highest insult to effort ratio of any auditory phenomenon that has ever been conceived, and yet we're the only people who know how to use it. When fire was discovered, the people who discovered it were immediately reprimanded by a stern British tut, and we stole the idea, whilst they were too disheartened to try again. Same with the wheel. We saw someone trying something new, scolded them for it, that stole their idea while they weren't looking. Impression of two seemingly normal people, but secretly famous. Rubbish. Electric toothbrushes, they clean your teeth better. No, they don't. And you're sure you're making a saving by having one? I mean, you don't have to replace the whole toothbrush every time. You just have to change one small part. So how do they get around that issue? Charge a fortune for the tiny replacement. Lecturers not just being available on the internet. Lecturers need to keep them secret to make money. We have this infinitely powerful distribution device, but we can't use it because we haven't worked out how to share yet. The video could be available to anyone, anywhere, at any time, but they'd rather have to do it over and over again to a tiny audience that will forget it 5 minutes after leaving the room. I wonder if people who believe that gender is a social construct believe the same thing about race. Would they object to me calling myself a black man? Now hey, I'm dead, alright? So don't get angry at me, because I'm dead, alright? And hey, you don't know, maybe you're freaking being mean to dead people, because you don't know maybe I want to be alive this whole time. So, take that. Just a quick little bit of info. I'm quite happy being, I'm by definition perfectly neutral. That's the great thing about death. You know what you get. It's a guaranteed neutral. Guaranteed. When being heckled, is it still child abuse to mock someone who's around 40 but their mental age is under 10? No, there's a better way you could say that. Just a stone's throw away, ISIS are. The humans who are growing up today will be the smartest generation to have ever existed. The smartest human will be bred in this generation. If someone were to use the internet, particularly YouTube and other media platforms, to their full learning potential, they would be unparalleled. Not an entrance with entrance on one door, unnecessarily confusing. Just use the word exit to avoid confusion. Why do they have to be so vague? Is that literally all the information they have about that door? Hey, could you tell me what kind of door that is? Well, I can tell you one thing. It is not an entrance, that's for sure. It's not an elephant either. Why don't you put that on there? Well, that's not funny. That's like an attempt at observational comedy. But a really bad attempt. It's really not funny, okay? I actually find it quite offensive how unfunny that is. Hang myself up to die. I'm more of a slow burn kind of comedian. You might not laugh now, but a few hours later, when you're on your way home, you'll be laughing your balls off. At least I assume. I don't really read my emails or listen to feedback. And then a little list of films I want to watch. Regarding the Matrix as the simulated reality for humans, perhaps the Messiah-like existence is one we could all adhere to. Obviously it would be a primitive version, but may ensure a certain guarantee of fulfillment. Of course it would have to give the illusion of a simulation within a simulation. Turtles all the way down, but there's no reason to believe this wouldn't be possible. So we could all be Neo. The real question isn't whether your life has purpose. What you really want to know is that your life has a greater purpose and is more important than others. Even if there was a divine being that did have a purpose for you, it would mean nothing if it were negligible. Of course, there is no purpose. Even things you may believe to have purpose, like understanding the nature of the universe, are not true purposes. They are, however, more like a purpose than others, in that they are likely to give a more lasting sense of meaning, as their aspirations are grand, yet conceivably attainable. Some of my most feared emotions are those that follow these scenarios: not saying something in answer to a question, or just saying something that was in general clever, witty or funny, and not being able to convince others that you truly had thought it. Having some sort of superpower, it's like in a certain scenario when you chose not to say something, some clever quip, or you thought about it like 20 seconds too late. Having some sort of superpower or other ability and then losing it and not being able to regain it, or not being credited for an idea or joke or something, or some other intellectual property, even if it's simply a matter of someone coming up with the same idea independently. I should have tried to find out what nature and accident really had made me, and to be that and nothing else. That's Charles Dickens. But maybe not a typo in there, so I'll just correct that. Don't want to misquote Dickens. Good God. There are at least 3 types of suicide, and the distinction is critical, as they are nothing alike in motive. Romantic suicide describes all those that are rooted in a deluded sense of, or lack of, grandeur. This is often referred to as a cry for help or attention, which is often true, but doesn't quite address the real cause, which is a desire to radically change the way you are viewed by others or perceived by others. Logical suicide, of course, I claim to be of this persuasion, but so would everyone, so it's hard to believe someone on their word alone, is the result of arduous thought and reasoning, ultimately coming to a conclusion the subject had never really considered, and to which there can only be a few solutions, the most obvious of which, and likely the most logical, depending on the individual's own preferences, is suicide. Thirdly, although probably not the final one, is done out of pure despair. It can be crossover with logical suicide, especially if unavoidable agony is present. However, it is also possible for suicide to be nothing more than a means to an end, with little thought required. My little suicide note idea. Meh, you'll get over it. No, quite like that. Get the point. Like a little... See, now it just seems like I'm doing the romanticising thing. I'm romanticising it, yeah. See, once you're dead, that's it. That's what I like about it. Bam. Over. End of. Guaranteed stability. Yeah? No fucking about. Alright? None of this. Oh, will they, won't they? You're dead. Why are there so many bald or balding comedians? I believe it's one of two things. Either you desire to get your desire to get either our desire to get fucked. You've got to address the fact that I'm balding. Either our desire to get fucked was strong enough for us to hone our skills of wit in order to basically trick women into thinking we're not unfuckably ugly, or we've mistaken all the time people spend looking at our receding hairlines as them admiring the source of our superior intellect, leading us to believe that we've got something up there worth sharing. Either way, we're wrong. It's pretty fucking ugly, and you're not actually smart, dumbass. You oxymoron. Universal hedonism. Oh yeah, so I think that's basically my universal moral goodness is actually kind of hedonism, but so that the absolute maximum hedonism for every being in the universe is what would be perfect. So, which obviously would mean that some people can't have just the highest. See, that's the equality and equity thing. I think it's probably going to have to be actually, should it be equity or should it be equality? Who knows? I actually don't know that yet. I haven't thought about that really. Because if you do equality, then the gross amount of pleasure, as it were. I just think pleasure is not the best word to describe it. I think, again, it's another thing where people are talking about different things. Hedonism, pleasure, or just... Because it depends whether you include just happiness in pleasure, or whether you're talking about, kind of euphoria. So with equality, you'd probably be more likely to get... No, sorry, with equity. Oh, it's hard, actually. Anyway, with one of them, you'd get just a higher gross amount of pleasure, and the other, it would be fair for everyone, so everyone would be happy, hopefully. But maybe, actually, no, I think you have to aim for the highest gross amount. Anywho, no, I'm not here to make you feel bad, but I'm going to do it anyway. As a society, I'm pretty sure we've got our priorities straight. Who invented the garage? Straight out of our arse. No, sorry, that's not actually in there. But anyway, who invented the garage? Who looked to the world and saw all the poverty-stricken and homeless people, and then thought, "Wow, I really need to build a house for my car." They were there doing flicking between. Oh, they were there doing up and flicking between the two to decide who they cared about more. Oh, the poor guy doesn't look like he's eaten in weeks. Oh, that paint is rust-proof. Cars are designed to survive outdoors. That's their domain. Humans have a primal instinct to seek shelter, often in a car. We'll probably come up with a way to put another house around our first house before we innovate housing that can accommodate the entire population. Should have tried to find out... Oh, that's the Dickens thing that just moved up there because I edited it. Okay, that's been really great. I've really enjoyed this thing. Thanks for talking to me today. And I hope to see you again soon. Oh, that's Oliver Quinn, everybody. Go and check him out. He can be found dead in a ditch. Bye.